Welcome to Soto Creations, where we make your imagination a reality. I have already started inflating balloons. Today I am changing things up a little bit. I'm going to do a different kind of design than you've seen on my channel, and I want bigger clusters of balloons. So I'm starting out by inflating pairs of balloons, tying pairs together of my 18 inches and my 11 inches. This is the Qualitex balloon. So as you can see, we always want to round the balloon so it's oval. I compress, let air out so that they're nice and round for that organic look. We are going to be working only with white today. I know, but you trust the process, and I'm really falling in love with the single color balloon arrangement. So I decided to go with white this time around because I am prepping for a bridal show. You guys have seen my setups for the bridal show that I participate in a couple of times a year. So I am prepping for that this morning. I actually have to go set this up later today. The bridal show is going to be tomorrow. I usually go and set up the day before so I have time either the same night to start working on my own booth or to go the next day in the morning and just work on my booth, because the bridal show is usually from noon till 5. So all right, back to our tutorial. Inflating balloons. We are gonna create an organic design. I honestly don't yet have 100% plan in place, but I am going to freestyle this time around. It's been a common thing lately. In the past, I'm used to putting together some kind of drawing or something that I have in mind, but this time around, I just want to go with this white balloon and see how things go with designing. I'm thinking at this point in the video that I'm going to add a lot of florals to make everything pop. But then I also want to use a rose gold shimmer wall. So if you keep watching, you'll see the changes that I make going along, which is kind of how you do designing. One thing I love about the bridal show is the fact that they let me do whatever I want with the balloon arrangements. They trust my designs and they love my designs every time I come up with something new, but it just allows me to be creative and put whatever I have out there, and it's always very different. So we are pretty much done with the white bigger balloons. Now we're creating some filler clusters. By the fillers, these are the 5-inch balloons that I form quads with. So pairs tied together, and that's our quad. So we're going to make a few of those. I was contemplating using some rose gold in the design, but so that it kind of pulls from the backdrop. So I have that jar there of rose gold balloons. I'll do this first because I know for sure I'll use the white, and we'll decide later on whether or not to add the rose gold. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking to watch my video. I really appreciate it. If you'll consider clicking the subscribe button, that will really support my channel. If you've been watching and you're not subscribed, please click that subscribe button. It really supports me and encourages me to keep putting out these tutorials for you guys. All right, we are again inflating our filler balloons. I put out the whole pack of 100 5-inch balloons. I actually think I inflated 2 packs of the 5 inches, all of them, because this is going to be a huge backdrop. I didn't want to do a balloon wall. They really like the balloon walls. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want as many balloons as the balloon wall takes, but I ended up actually probably, I would say, using more balloons than a balloon wall would have taken me, or about the same. But I really wanted to use the shimmer wall and then the all white balloons. So we're gonna go ahead. That's the second pack I'm inflating there. Just gonna go ahead and finish up, and I'll show you guys how I prep the 5-inch balloons to be able to design the backdrop, to be able to add it to the backdrop if you haven't seen that already before. I usually use several methods for attaching the filler balloons onto the backdrop. My preferred method is with rubber bands, but every time you have bigger balloons, it's harder for you to stretch the rubber bands through. They always pop. That being said, I'm going to use 260Q balloons, cut them in half, and use those to attach the filler balloons. I'm still going to make a couple of balloons or prep a couple of balloons with the rubber bands. But with the 260Q, you tie one end of the 260Q to the neck of one of the clusters, just double knot it. Do that for each cluster, and you have 2 clusters, and you just wrap this around. Mainly for me, the balloons that are bigger, that the rubber band can't go around. But if you like this method better, you can just do that for any of your installs. I just like the rubber bands because they slip on easily, and I can control really where I want all the filler clusters to go. So doing the prep with all the balloons, and I'm showing you here how I put the rubber band. See, it's a lot faster than putting on the 260Q because I pretty much just slide a rubber band to the center of the cluster. And let's head on to the venue to prepare this beautiful backdrop. Here are my bags of balloons. I put these balloons in U-Haul bags, the mattress bags. This helps me transport my balloons easily and they don't pop. So now that I have a truck, it's easier for me to inflate all my balloons and just take it on site. I'm prepping the shimmer wall. At first I thought this would be so tedious and I was dreading even using it, but I realized that it's easier to put together than it is to take apart. So this wasn't bad at all. But I'm prepping. I'm going to use 260Qs on my backdrop there. That is a square metal frame that I decided to start using for balloon installs instead of my heavy duty pipe and drape kits. So I tie my 260Qs that I'll use to attach the balloons onto the backdrop first, so that when I do put my shimmer wall on, I'm not struggling to tie the 260Q in between the grid of the shimmer wall. So after that is completed, I'm looking for my zip ties here so that I can use to attach the shimmer wall. The zip ties are 8 inches, as you can see. That is gonna help me just secure the shimmer wall to the backdrop. I got this backdrop on Amazon, very affordable. So if you want something like that, not as sturdy, so you can't use it outside, but it's great for indoor installs that are not so heavy. I am laying the backdrop down. I decided to just tie the shimmer wall with it on the ground so that I'm not stretching so much or trying to get a chair to work my way all around and not break my shimmer wall panel. So I'm zip tying with the shimmer wall facing down so that when I lift it, then it's at a height that I'm able to add more to. But I want to secure the top part first, and then I'm going to lift everything up and continue doing it that way. So once it's all secure, then I think I'm ready. I should be tall enough to do the rest. This whole time I've been waiting for directions on where exactly they want the backdrop set up, so I decided to work ahead. The lighting out there is not so great, but we have to set up out there, so let's go. We are in the hallway right outside where the bridal show is gonna take place. So I'm moving everything I had inside so we can continue with this setup. I brought my bride-to-be neon sign, very fitting for the occasion. The good thing is I don't have to hang it with fishing line, which is tedious. I have a chain on there that it came with, so I'll just disconnect one end and then reconnect through the pole and then reconnect it to the sign. A lot of times with this sign you have to make adjustments depending on how the balloons look once you put them in. But I have that in place just so I don't forget to do that. And I'm just working on adding the panels of the shimmer wall on. Now that it's at a height that I can reach, I'll just assemble a few pieces, then go attach it to the backdrop. So we're gonna get back with you here once we start working on the balloons, but I think it's pretty cool to watch how the pieces just fit together as though they were magnetic. So I'll let you guys enjoy that part. So I have 7 across and 7 coming down. Because of the design, I'm not worried about that gap right there because I'm gonna fill it coming all to the front with balloons. So I'm gonna start putting the balloons. I'm gonna zip tie the sides now that I've adjusted everything and they're all set, and then we'll start putting the balloons on. I'm also gonna put the sign. It's not as stable. I might need some weights behind it, but we'll see. At this point, I'm looking for all the 260 Qs that I tied to the backdrop to thread it through the shimmer wall so that I can tie my balloons. And I put it closer to the middle of the shimmer wall, not quite on the end, so that I eliminate that gap that you usually get when you attach the backdrop or the balloons directly to the side of the shimmer wall. So now we have our big bags of balloons. At the venue, I did not create clusters, so now I'm making my clusters of 6. I prefer the 6 to 8. I've seen a lot of people do 8, but I like 6 because it doesn't squeeze my balloons and choke some of the balloons up, and you can still see all the rounded effects on all of them. So once I have 6 of each quad or cluster, then I'm able to attach to form my garland. So I'm just gonna extend this garland. I have huge clusters because I wanted a full voluminous backdrop. So again, we're back to that neon sign. Have to reattach it because I had to adjust my shimmer wall because it was touching the ground when I was attaching it initially. But I'm looking to do like a full garland. That's why you see me use these big clusters. I use quite a few of the 16 inches with the 11 inches so that it creates a fuller look. That's the good thing about using bigger balloons, is you spend more on them, but you're able to fill up more as well. But you have to create somewhat of a balance when doing that. So at this point, I'm just extending my garland all the way, and then I'll decide placement as far as how I want it to go. Because I have so many balloons, I decide to take it up. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go on the right or on the left. If I had thought about it before, I probably would have extended from the right side so people actually see that it's extending to the ceiling whenever they walk in. But because of the way I had already set up my panels and attached it, I decided to just keep it that way and attach it where it extends to the ceiling on this left side. So I'm just creating room for that and pulling my 260Q through so I can attach the balloons to the backdrop. I just wrap it around, not the same balloon, just go between 1 or 2 balloons and get that secured. Because it's in place on that one spot, I extend it a little more so that I have room to work with when it's up high. Once I have it all attached to the top, then I can continue extending and designing the backdrop that way. At this point, the base of the garland is done, but of course my plan is to create a full wide backdrop. This was just too simple for me, so I'm going to use the rest of my balloons just to add and extend the backdrop. So I'm creating quads and just filling in from the bottom up, trying to see where there are gaps, like you can see down there where it's kind of suspended. So I'm just filling that in, of course pulling the necks through, adding more clusters, and just filling as I go until I'm satisfied with how it looks. Another thing you can do with these shimmer walls, because they do have small pieces on them, so one thing you can do is just put a fabric drape in the back. That'll help the shimmer wall pop more, especially if you use the same color as the shimmer wall, or you can use a black. It'll just block off that light that comes through, and you'll just have a brighter shimmer wall. So you see now I'm really extending the balloons. It's kind of uneven, but be patient, work with me, and we're gonna design this and extend it all the way. Okay, what are you guys thinking so far? I needed to get a drink of water. It's getting a bit late. I think it's 10 o'clock. 9:30. I got here about 6:30, no, 7 actually. Yeah, I got here at 7 and I started probably about 7:30. So 2 hours. and I haven't been rushing like I usually do because I'm tired. Secondly, it's like I'm just gonna take my time and just do it, you know. That's the fun part of not having to rush. They did upgrade. I say upgrade. He offered me a double booth, so that's exciting because I can do more. But not only that, I have more work to do tonight to prepare for tomorrow to add to my booth. So I am gonna add some flowers. I really like how it looks. I don't know, tell me in the comments what you guys think. I'm gonna add flowers and see. It looks really good the way it is, but what's a wedding without flowers, right? That's what I always say. So we'll see what flowers we want to add to give it that nice pop. Rose gold, it looks orange. See the back? Let's check out the back. I never do. Really. So much time. See how it's leaning? Kind of leaning. But it's the metal. It's not going anywhere because I put those weights. I'm going to add more weights now. That's the back.